This is Matt from Trail Rider Camp. I am taping today from Lynchfield Park in Greensburg, Pennsylvania. And this morning here I'm going to be riding roughly about 15 miles on a trail called the 5-Star Trail. Now the 5-Star Trail was a trail I meant to do a few weeks ago when I did my South Central PA bike trip. It was supposed to be the first trail I was going to do as part of that, larger trip, and it was the one that ended up getting kind of axed due to family scheduling conflicts. So I was out this way to basically pick my son up from summer camp, and so I figured, you know what, I'll stop. This should probably take me about an hour and a half to do, and then I'll go finish up with things. So really nice big parking lot. There's like a pool here, there's some pavilions here, some hiking trails, baseball field. So you got tons and tons of parking here at Lynchfield Park. And it's easy to find in Google Maps, right off kind of the main thoroughfare in Greensburg. And then this trail basically runs north to south from Greensburg down to Youngwood, PA, and there's a few kind of small spurs. So my plan is I'm going to ride from north to south, do the spurs as well, and then kind of double back here. So coming out of the parking lot, you're going to come down to the corner, clearly marked little sign, 5-Star Trail rules, mile marker 0, and then there's this little bridge, and it can be confusing because there's a trail down there that people are walking on toward the fields. But you're going to go here, cross this bridge, and then hang a right. A little bit of a switchback climb out of the lot above the pool and up through a little underpass. Some murals. So you get up to the top of that hill and the trail becomes a nice crushed limestone, nice and wide. And some beautiful artwork on the adjoining business. Really cool. Really cool. Some nice views of Greensburg as you kind of get started on the trail. There's the Westmoreland County seat. Little historical placard. So here's the Huff Road parking lot. So very busy road crossing, obviously, but nice big lot. Porta john. There's a little covered picnic table. Trail super busy this morning. Looked like a cross-country team that's practicing. A few other bikers. There's one coming down the trail right now, but it's mostly walkers and runners out in force. But really nice start. You kind of skirt a lot of businesses. So if you did want to pop off trail and get some food or whatever, there's tons and tons of choices. A lot of this morning. A lot of puddles. Overall the trail's in good condition. It alternates a little bit from asphalt to limestone to asphalt to limestone. But as I've mentioned in some of my other videos, we've had a lot of rain here this summer. And especially out east of Pittsburgh here, kind of at the base of the mountains, they've just been getting hammered. As I almost wiped out. They've been getting hammered by storms and floods, and I think they even got some heavy rain last night. So definitely makes for a little bit of slow going. But yeah, it's overall pretty flat. You got a rail line. I don't know if this is in any kind of use. I would assume not, based on the proximity. And then so far I've had 2 small little bridges over creek crossings, and the waters to those have been pretty darn high as well. Some random singular rail cars just kind of hanging out, but they do look like newer rail cars. So who knows, maybe this line is in use. I just went past back there another parking lot. It was like Willow Creek Trail Access. It was another huge lot. There wasn't a single car in there. So definitely a lot of good parking options. A nice little creek that sits down below. And then there are mile markers kind of along the side of the trail. So this is around mile 4. This is probably about halfway, I would assume. Maybe even a little bit more than halfway. Kind of an industrial area here. Just past where I taped, another huge parking lot. Little signboard here, including some free brochures and maps. Very nice. Alright, so I'm at the end of that parking lot I just taped at, and this is where the trail just kind of abruptly stops. You're at Trolley Line Road, and you're going to hang a left, and you're going to be sharing the road for a little bit until the trail gets to kind of that spur that I was talking about, where it kind of branches off in 2 different directions. So I knew that this was coming somewhere. I just, it was kind of unannounced, and there's really not much signage other than like a little bicycle sign right there on the side of the road. So this is a designated bike lane, and you go past a lot of industrial stuff, and it's 25 miles an hour. There's not much traffic, but there is some traffic, but you kind of got your own little lane over here. Alright, came to the end of that road riding. It comes right out at the Depot Street Trail access. So to me, this looked to be the best parking spot if you want to start at the southern end, which is not all that far from the PA Turnpike. So if you come across the Turnpike, this is probably the logical place to park to ride this trail. And they got a nice little Youngwood Railroad Museum over there. Requisite train car. Nice covered pavilion. Porta-johns. And this right here is where the trail splits. So I'm going to do both kind of spurs. I'm going to do the one that direction first, and then I'll come back and do this more southerly spur. So this side, like I said, you're going left out of the Depot Street parking lot, nice and newly paved, good signage. You can't miss it. Very nice. A little wetland over there through the trees. I really like trails like this. It's a lot of variety in terms of what the trail experience is like. So it starts off, skirting businesses, main roads, and then, kind of increasingly becomes a little bit more rural, and now you kind of feel like you're in the countryside. Like I said, the surface of the trail itself changes. I went back past another lot back there, the WCC lot, another huge lot. So this trail is top-notch in terms of parking accessibility. Alright, so you leave and meander back into the woods a little bit. You get to mile marker 7, and then this stretch of the trail abruptly ends at a barrier, 2 benches looking down on a creek. So pretty definitive, this is where it's time to turn around. Head back to Depot Street. Back at the Depot Street lot, and now going straight south. So this most southern stretch coming out of Depot Street is probably the biggest elevation change. For the most part, this trail is very, very flat. A teeny bit ups and downs here and there, but this you can actually feel like you're going up. Though it's nice because this part actually the trail drains really well, and so it's, despite the fact that you're going up, it's very smooth pedaling. Alright, so abrupt southern end of the trail here at East Hill Street. No signs, nothing, it just stops. So we're going to turn around and head back on up to Greensburg. So I made it back to the car here, barely. When I got back, I realized that my back tire was severely deflated to the point where it's like almost flat. And I'm checking it out, I didn't see any active leaks, but I have no idea what the heck's going on there. So I figured get it back to the garage at home, pump it up, and then kind of monitor and go from there. So I'm going to head on to my destination today. I'll give my kind of follow-up remarks on the trail once I get home, and I'll catch you guys in a bit. I am back at home and ready with my summary remarks about the 5-star trail. So first of all, when I did get home, I did realize that I had a pretty sharp rock through my back tire that had punctured the tube, and so the tube was kind of losing air slowly, and when I really applied pressure, it really started to gush out. In addition to that, I also had a broken spoke on my front wheel, which was kind of surprising. So ended up switching out the tube, patching up the tire, bringing it to the shop to get the spoke repaired. So hopefully have it back in about 2 to 3 days. But can't hold that against the trail because frankly I don't think that conditions on the trail is really what caused either one of those. Now in terms of scenery, I gave this trail 5 out of 10. Nothing really epic to look at, but as I mentioned, I like the variety. I like the variety of the trail experience. So I thought that there's enough changes in what you were looking at to kind of keep things interesting. Surface rideability, I gave it a 7 out of 10. For the most part, nice wide trail, kind of alternating asphalt and crushed limestone. Yes, there was a tremendous amount of puddles today, but again, that's not normal conditions. We've had an insanely wet late spring, especially out east of Pittsburgh, so not really the trail's fault. Safety, I gave it a 2 out of 5, primarily because of the road riding segment. I always say if it's a 3 out of 5 or higher, I'd probably bring kids. If it's 2 out of 5 or lower, I probably wouldn't, given that road riding. Even though I felt safe, I wouldn't feel safe with children. Parking, I mentioned 5 out of 5. They hit it out of the park. Super accessible, tons and tons of spots, really awesome, easy to get to parking. Food and drink, I gave it a 3 out of 5. Nothing directly on the trail, but a lot of stuff, especially at the Greensburg end, just off the trail. So if you want to get off the trail, get some food, or even get back to the trailhead and jump, there's a brewery literally right down the street. Facilities, I gave it a 3 out of 5. Lots of bathrooms, number of covered pavilions, good signage, some benches and picnic tables, but not, no water, no repair stations, nothing like that. Wildlife, 1 out of 5. I saw a few cool songbirds right off the bat, and that was it. Again, this is not really a wildlife-centric trip. Fun factor, I gave it a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed myself today, even with kind of the mechanical setbacks. It was a great morning for a ride, and it was a nice short one. It took me about an hour and a half. Altogether, it was 15.7 miles, the route that I did. So just perfect for kind of what I was hoping to do this morning, for a total score of 30 out of 50, which in my opinion is a very solid score for a nice short trail like the 5-star trail.